Welcome to the Group A preview for the 2013 Gold Cup with Simon Borg. I'm Jason Segini. This is a Gold Cup tournament that we're very excited for here at MLSsoccer.com. We're going to have full coverage all month long, including a daily show starting July 8th, Monday through Friday, with all the news, highlights, analysis you'd want from Gold Cup, full coverage of the U.S. national team as well. But Simon, we're here to preview Group A, and that is the group that holds maybe the favorites of the tournament in Mexico. Also joining them in Group A, Panama, Canada, and Martinique. So plenty of MLS interest here, as all three of those teams have MLSers playing for them. We're going to start, though, with the favorites, and that is Mexico. Some people down in Mexico, Simon, are saying that this team in Gold Cup might actually be better than the team that we've seen recently in World Cup qualifying.
And with reason, Jason. Mexico had two major deficiencies in World Cup qualifying. One, scoring goals. Two, they had a weaker, slower central midfield. I think they resolved those issues in this Gold Cup squad by having a guy like Marco Fabian up top in the attack. He's creative, and I think he can work well with two big, young bodies up top. We're talking about Raul Jimenez of Club America and also El Chuletita Orozco from Cruz Azul. Those two players, big-time players, I think they're healthier than a guy like De Nigris was during World Cup qualifying. Then in central midfield, you're going to have two really dynamic, physical players who really are a presence there. One is El Gulit Peña and the other El Chaton Enriquez, who are, again, going to be all over the field.
Enriquez, of course, one of the players who was on that gold medal winning Olympic team for Mexico. 7 of those players brought into Gold Cup, so guys who know about winning. Moving on, we're taking a look at the contender from this group, and that has to be Panama, Simon.
Panama bringing several of their players from World Cup qualifying here. They're going to be missing guys like Luis Tejada and Felipe Baloy, but they bring back Roman Torres. They're going to have a Russo Barahona and Blas Perez, the FC Dallas forward, who's going through a good moment here. But the issue for them, goal scoring. In the last 3 matches in World Cup qualifying, they were shut out in every match. Their midfield didn't look good at all, and they weren't creating enough chances. So that is a concern. Can they get it together for this Gold Cup?
All right, now moving on, we're going to take a look at the long shots, and those have to be Canada and Martinique. Simon, which one of these teams do you think has the better shot to advance?
Well, Jason, you have to go with Canada. Martinique, not a country that's used to being in the Gold Cup. They are a country that doesn't get together that much. They don't play in World Cup qualifying. They're a French territory, but they'll be bringing some players who are playing in the lower divisions in Europe. They do have Frederic Piquillon of the Portland Timbers, who's had a good season for the Timbers so far. But you have to look at Canada, a team that's bringing a young core of players, several MLS players, and the only issue there is they have an interim head coach. Colin Miller still in that job. And will the team come together in that kind of temporary situation and say, okay, let's focus and let's make a run here at the Gold Cup? That's the only question.
All right, Group A gets underway in Los Angeles on Sunday. Mexico against Panama, Canada against Martinique. Now we're going to take a look at some of the players to watch in Group A, and we're starting with the favorites, Mexico, and what might be their star of the tournament, and that's Marco Fabian. Remember, this is a player that a lot of people might remember from his amazing bicycle kick that he scored for Chivas Guadalajara against Barcelona in the World Football Challenge in 2011. Simon, is this a player who's going to make a difference for them in the tournament?
I think this is his big shot, Jason. Marco Fabian, in recent years, he's been in that class of player with Chicharito Hernandez, Gio Dos Santos, and those two players have gone on and moved to Europe. Marco Fabian has had issues, disciplinary issues, form, injury, and he's, although rumored to be going to Europe, never made the jump. So I think people are expecting him to really take control of this team, take the stage in the Gold Cup, and really show that he belongs on the next level. He's still young, still only 23, but I think this could be his tournament.
All right, another player that we have to watch, and we mentioned him a little bit earlier as well, and that's Blas Perez with Panama. Another MLSer here, Simon, that really does well for his national team, and as he goes, that seems to be how Panama goes.
Yeah, he's a leader on this Panamanian team, loves those colors, and he gives it all 90 minutes. We see it with FC Dallas. It's even more so with Panama, with his country. He's one of those forwards that covers so much ground. He's so influential, comes into the midfield, works so hard, presses, and then scores goals. And we talked about how Panama is offensively challenged. They need Blas Perez, although they'll They'll miss him in the first game against Mexico. He's sticking around with FC Dallas for one game. Then he'll rejoin the team. They're hoping that he can bring his MLS form into the Gold Cup.
Panama's head coach basically saying Panama is playing for second with Canada and Martinique. Not really worried about that Mexico game at all. Moving on to the final player to watch, another MLSer here, Russell Teibert of Canada. The Vancouver Whitecaps have loved the form he's been in lately, Simon. The question is, can he transfer that to the Canadian national team?
Russell Teibert has been a player looking for his position of late, and he's found it. Out on the right side with Vancouver, he's had a stretch of game where he's in the form of his life, creating havoc down that right side, crossing balls, coming into the middle, creating chances. He is an offensive spark plug right now, and they need to ride him, they need to start him, and they need to play him at that outside position. And for a team like Canada that's going to be without Dwayne De Rosario for the first time in a long time, he's not going to be there to inspire them. Russell Teibert, should be their inspiration for this tournament.
All right, well, now looking at the group as a whole, Simon, what is your prediction for how this group will lay out?
Well, Jason, I think Mexico at first position, everyone agrees. They're going to finish first. Then for second, I think we can see a surprise here. I think Canada can pip Panama for that second spot because Panama, they've not been impressive to me lately. And I think a team like Canada can deal with the physicality of a Blas Perez and contain him. So if they can spring the upset in that match, Canada versus Panama, I think Canada can find themselves in second place.
Group A action gets underway on Sunday. Mexico against Panama, Canada against Martinique, and that's a big game for Canada if they're going to get off on the right foot in this tournament, and your prediction is going to come true, Simon. They have to take 3 points from the group minnows. Final reminder that you can see Gold Cup today, Monday through Friday, all throughout July as the tournament continues, and Group B preview on the site now. Group C preview out on Monday. Of course, that's the U.S. national team's group, so you'll want to check that out.